Greetings and welcome to the Words of Life Prophetic Daily Devotional with Sean A. Mitchell. Today, in our more sure word of prophecy, we're going to talk about the response of the righteous. And we're going to come from Psalms, the 4th chapter, and we're going to look at verses 4 through 5, and then we'll actually take a look at verse 8 as well in the New King James Version. And this is how it reads. It says, "Be angry and do not sin. Meditate within your heart on your bed and be still, Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord." Verse 8, I will both lie down in peace and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the context here. Obviously, something has happened to David. David is actually the writer of this particular Psalms. And on this particular Psalms, it starts out, when you read the whole thing, it's talking about how he plays on the strings. So this is probably David actually singing right here in this particular psalm. But someone has done David an injustice. Someone has done something to David to actually get him, obviously, to the place where he got angry. Now, a lot of theologians believe this is Absalom, his son. And Absalom, we know he basically tried to overtake David's kingdom, which would be very offensive for a father, for his son to do something in that particular type of manner. But what does David say? What is the response that David actually has here? So contextually, as we're reading this, David actually now, he begins to find God as a hiding place, is what he really does. But he says something, be angry and do not sin. You know what? It's okay to be angry. Even God gets angry at times. So it's okay to be angry, but the important part is, while you are angry, do not fall into sin. Do not go against the things of God. Do not go wayward or off the path of the righteousness of God. Then it goes on and it says this, meditate within your heart on your bed and be still, Selah. I think that's really interesting how it words there. It says, meditate within your heart on your bed and be still. And so one of the things we're looking at here that's kind of strange and maybe a little confusing is meditate within your heart. But let's take a look at this also in the Passion Translation and kind of see what the Passion Translation actually says here. This is what the Passion Translation says. It says, be still upon your bed and search your heart before him. Pause in his presence. Now that's interesting, where it tells us to be still here in the New King James Version. In the Passion, it tells us to pause in his presence. It tells us to basically search our hearts before him. And so, again, like I said, David found his hiding place in God. And so there's things that happen to us in life. And it's so important that what we need to do is not rush into an inaccurate response, but our rush should be to rush into the presence of God, to meditate upon our hearts is what we're supposed to do, to be still and to search the transactions that are taking place. Now, it's interesting because it says meditate within your heart. And one of the things you have to understand about your heart is this, because even scripture says out of the heart, proceeds, the evil, things like that. But if you really go and look deep within scriptures, and we're talking about the heart, you can literally say that the heart, which is the core or the belly basically of man, is basically, it's the inner workings of man. You can say it's your spirit as well as your soul. That's where your heart really is. And this is why Paul would say things in Ephesians, and he's talking to saved people. And he says things like, I pray that the eyes of your heart would be enlightened, or the eyes of your understanding. He's talking about the heart. All right. So there can be a meditation that takes place within your heart between your spirit and your soul. Now, why did I go into that? Well, let's take a look really quick here at Jeremiah 32, 38, and 39. And it says this: they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Then I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and their children after them. Well, what a part we want to focus on, of course, is verse 39. God says he's going to give them one heart in one way. Why would God say that? Because actually their heart can be divided. So when he says one, he's talking about in unison, one particular way to go, one to be unified in the heart. Because what happens is when you are done an injustice, there's a part of you that is your spirit, which is willing, but then there's your soul, which can get into the flesh, the mind of the flesh, which can be weak. And that is where this be angry and do not sin literally comes into place. And so that's why you have to meditate within your heart on your bed. You have to be still. You have to pause in his presence so that you will allow your spirit man to rise above the mind of the flesh, or we could say the carnal mind, so that you will have what? A righteous response. And then that's where it comes in verse 5, and it says, offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord, because you want to defend yourself. You want to get even. You want justice. And here it says, no, offer the sacrifices of righteousness. And what is that? Well, scripture tells us in the Beatitudes that we are to pray for our enemies. It didn't say that we are necessarily to go and confront our enemies, all right, in the wrong attitude that will produce sin. That's not what we're supposed to do. The sacrifices of righteousness. Sometimes to be righteous, it really takes a sacrifice. It really takes a lot within you to be able to be still. Be still and know that he is God in the midst of that particular situation. And you have to put your trust literally in the Lord. And sometimes that's not the easiest thing actually to do. Now, verse 8 goes on to say, I will both lie down in peace and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. And that is what happens once you allow the meditation to take place in your heart. And then you begin to put your trust in the Lord. Passion Translation says it this way: now, because of you, Lord, I will lie down in peace, and sleep comes at once. For no matter what happens, I will live unafraid. So no matter what people are saying about you, even if they're trying to ruin your reputation, that you have to go, you have to begin to be still on your bed, search your heart before him, pause in his presence, allow now the voice of God to arise up, so that now you can begin to walk in the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. And God will always be your the one who will take vengeance on your behalf. So it's okay to be angry, but do not sin. Let's make sure that we, the people of God, the children of God, that we are not just saying that we were righteous, but that our responses are righteous in everything that we do, in every situation, and that the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts, and now it is released out into the world, that our light will shine, people will see our good works, and our Father will be glorified. If this has been a blessing to you, please share the Prophetic Daily Devotional, the more sure word of prophecy, the words of life. Write to us at info@sam-ministries.org, and let us know how the Prophetic Daily Devotional has been blessing you. Also, you can go to my website, www.sam-ministries.org. I want you to subscribe so that you can get this into your email. Also, you can go on that website as well. Go and click on the podcast. Go check out the creation of a new humanity. That's what all of this is about. Designing a new race, the Christ race. We need a new humanity. And this is actually one of the fruits of a new humanity, is a righteous response. I bless you today from the Prophetic Daily Devotional, the more sure word of prophecy, the words of life. See you tomorrow. Tune in.